Recently, a big honor was bestowed upon a local businessman for over 50 years of dedicated service. Ron Acho was recognized by the Chaldean American Chamber of Commerce and was named their Business Person of the Year. Ron has been a senior partner with his firm Cummings, McClory, Davis and Acho for 51 years and has made several incredible contributions to both the Chaldean community and the Michigan business community as well. Here to tell us more about his big honor, we have Ron Acho joining us on the Splash Live. Ron, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, but that opening was kind of took my breath away.
Well, absolutely. You've done such great work throughout the community. Congratulations on being named Business Person of the Year. How did you feel when you first received the news of this recognition?
Well, truthfully, I was stunned. I even turned it down because, number one, I'm not a business person, and two, I don't think I'm worthy of that honor because there's so many others that are way more accomplished than I am. But I was very elated that they thought to award me that award.
Well, you certainly deserve it through all of the hard work that you've done throughout both the Chaldean and Michigan business communities. What have been the most rewarding aspects of serving these communities?
Well, to me, being an attorney is like ministering. The highest professions, I mean, there are so many, but I think medicine and religious ministry and law is right up there because when people come to you, they come to you with issues and problems. And the gratification comes, Jake, when people come to you with a problem and then you can help them with it. And then when you see them succeed and flourish and you had a small part in it, then that's where the gratification comes.
I'd imagine so. And with working for over 51 years in this field, I'm sure that there have been a lot of different cases and projects that you've worked on in that time period. Is there a particularly meaningful one that still stands out to you today?
Well, you are correct, Jake, that there have been quite a few, but the one that I have to always go back to shows how God works and how miracles do exist, because you couldn't script what I'm going to tell you, okay? About 48 years ago, an elderly African-American man came to see me. And he said, Mr. Acho, you were recommended to me. I want you to appeal the denial of my Social Security benefits. I said, okay. I said, what's your disability? He said, I don't have one. I said, what? He said, no, I'm not disabled. He said, I have a claw for a left hand, but I've worked for years and I'm not disabled. I said, well, I can't get you workers' compensation, or unemployment. I'm sorry, I got confused. Social Security disability. I said, because you have to be totally and permanently disabled. He said, Mr. Acho, he says, but I need the money. I said, but I can't help you. You're not disabled. He said, well, please take the case. I said, okay, but let me ask you this. How come you're not working? He said, well, I was working at this company for 25 years and they closed the plant. I said, well, why don't you get another job? He said, Mr. Acho, look at me. I'm old, I'm black, I have a claw for a hand. Who's going to hire me? He said, don't you think I've tried? I said, I felt sorry for him. I said, okay, I'll file, but we're not going to win. He said, thank you. So a few months go by, we get a notice of a hearing. And back in those days, Jake, they had visiting judges. And this judge was coming in from Louisiana. So I said, oh, great. I called my client. I said, listen, I got more bad news. We got a judge from Louisiana. He's probably old, white, and racist. We have no chance to win, none. He said, Mr. Acho, you've already told me, I understand, but please keep the case. And again, it's not a contingency, so I wasn't charging him. And so I figured I'm doing this, as an act of charity. Here's what happened. We go to the hearing and we go into a conference room. Sure enough, the judge is sitting there. He's older and he's white. He has a claw for a left hand.
Really?
My client didn't even sit down. Catch this. The judge said, where'd that happen? The war. Yeah, me too. What branch? Army. Yeah, me too. What unit? 82nd Airborne. Yeah, me too. Where did it happen? Battle of the Bulge. Yeah, me too. Sit down. Now, Jake, these hearings take an hour and a half to 2 hours of the judge questioning the witness. He asked him, are you disabled? Yeah. Okay. He said, do you have any questions, counsel? Now, I was a young attorney, and what the heck? What kind of record? He just asked him, are you disabled? There's no record. Counsel, do you have any questions? I was all intimidated. I said, no. Decisions take 30 to 45 days. He says to my client, you have a decision tomorrow. And we won.
Wow, that is crazy. Like I was hanging on every single word. That is truly one of those serendipitous moments that you can't really explain. And I completely understand how that has stood out in your mind for the past, did you say 48 years ago that happened?
Yeah. I mean, it's like it was yesterday. He was sitting right there. And I was telling him, you have no chance, because, you don't want to give clients a false hope or expectation. He was a good, decent man who was black, and nobody would hire him. And his only hope was some miracle. And there it was. I mean, in all my career, I've never seen anything. I've had a lot of interesting things happen, but nothing that can top that. Nothing.
I completely understand. That is such a big moment that has absolutely stood the test of time and has stood out in your mind throughout your 50 years of dedicated service. For those just joining us right now on the Splash Live, I'm talking with Ron Acho, who was just recognized by the Chaldean American Chamber of Commerce and was named their Business Person of the Year for 2025. And Ron, mentorship is often critical to long-term success. Have you used your experience to mentor some younger attorneys? And what advice do you most often share with them?
Well, first of all, I have had the privilege of mentoring a lot of people, especially law clerks, law students, and people who want to become attorneys. And what I tell them is that, first of all, go into the field or whatever you're going to do so that you enjoy it, so that you like doing whatever you do. The second thing I tell people, young people, be the best. Be absolutely the best. Now, in reality, are they always going to be the best? Maybe not. But if they strive to be the best, they will ultimately be successful. Plus, there's a saying that I've had that I tell some people, not everyone. Work as if everything depends on you, and pray as everything depends on God. Work as if everything depends on you, and pray as if everything depends on God. And you know what? It served me well for all these years.
Clearly it has. That's why you're sitting here today, and that's why you've won this incredible award. And I'd imagine it'd be difficult to get to this point alone. I'm sure that your family and your close community has played a big role in helping you get to where you are right now. What role has your family and community played in your professional journey and achievements?
Well, you're absolutely right, Jake. The reality is, if I didn't have my wife, Rita, which I always say is my greatest accomplishment, marrying her, she gave up her career so I could advance my career. She's the one that raised our children. She was there so many days when I wasn't, nights or trips, whatever I had to go. So she was my strength. And without her, that this would never be possible. The other thing is, you really don't succeed in life by yourself. It's not possible. The most successful people I've ever seen have always said that they hire people smarter than they are. So when you have people who are very supportive and who work hard, like I acknowledge my staff on May 1st. I said they work hard every single day to make me look good. And we've been around the firm 60 years. That's not by accident. That's because you hire people that are good people, then you try to reward them as best as you can. And we don't pay the most, but the thing that I like the most, 5 of our lawyers became judges. And we do lose attorneys from time to time, but 1 out of every 3 attorneys over the years that have left, they've asked to come back.
Well, that just says a lot about your firm and about what you offer to all of these people. And Ron, having won this award, what are your hopes and goals moving forward, both for your practice and your contributions to the community?
Well, my hope is I can still offer advice. At the stage of my career, a lot of what I do is strategic, advisory, counseling. And one of the benefits I've had, I've represented some very successful, very smart people. And you learn from them, like Mike George, who is a legend in the Chaldean community. He was not only a friend, but a mentor. He was exceptionally smart. So when you sit around with people like that, you learn from them. And when you've done so many cases I've had over the years, over 8,000, that it's not you become smarter, but you have more knowledge, you have more experience. And you try to impart that to others who have questions or issues. And most of the time, you can help them get through things. And it's important, too, because sometimes it involves families that call you regarding their children, their spouses, and they ask for help. And it's one of the things I read in the National Geographic about 30, 40 years ago. They interviewed the justice of an Indian Supreme Court, and he was from the Untouchables. And they asked him, "What is your greatest achievement?" He said, "My greatest achievement is when a man comes to me crying for justice, and I wipe away his tears by getting him justice."
Those are some very powerful words, and it's great to hear of all of the plans that you have moving forward and everything that you've brought to the community. Ron, I want to thank you so much for joining us here on the Splash Live. Before I let you go, is there any final words you'd like to offer in terms of advice for people who look to be successful in business or law or whatever they choose to do?
Well, again, it's like my father would say, be a good person, raise a good family, and help other people. We're brought on this earth for only a short period of time, and we want to make a difference. And it isn't how much money you're going to make. Really, honestly, that doesn't make you happy. Many rich people are not happy. But if you can help people in need, and you make a difference in people's lives, even if it's one person a day, even if it's complimenting a waitress or someone that you see how they look, if you can make a difference in someone's life each day, then you've been successful.
I love that. Such very simple things any person can do. every day to feel successful, and you have been successful for the last 50 years and beyond. Ron, thank you so much for joining us here on the Splash
Jake,
Live.
thank you. You're a great interviewer. Thank you for your compliments. God bless.